So in the fall of 2011, we were deeply embroiled in my grad film, which is called Mess, and Alex produced it. The bus was relaxing at his home on Magnus's property in South Surrey, and we would drive down to visit it occasionally, but as production drew closer on the film, we became increasingly unable to make the trip.
All that changed in late November, when Magnus gave us a call. He informed us that the property he lived on, as well as some adjacent lots, had been bought by the city with the intention of turning them into a new community center and pool. Unfortunately for us, this meant that we had to have all our stuff out by the end of January. Now, this panicked us because we were mid-renovation on the bus, and that was a problem for a variety of reasons, but mainly because it affected our plans for licensure. For vehicles over 5,500 kilograms, there are only two categories in BC under which you can apply for registration, one being commercial vehicle and the other being recreational vehicle. Commercial vehicles require an annual inspection, and it's a little bit more expensive. Recreational vehicles don't, but if you're converting your own, you have to have 3 out of a set of, I think, 10 or 11 different sort of essential characteristics of an RV, which is to say like a bed, toilet, sink, stove, independent heat, that kind of thing. So our plan had always been to finish the renovations to the extent that we could get it licensed as an RV, and avoid the whole commercial vehicle process altogether. But given our limited time frame, we elected to go for the commercial vehicle licensing so that we could at least get the bus on the road. In the meantime, we'd agreed to let our good friend Aaron use our bus as a set piece for his short film Graceland. In the movie, the main character takes to the woods in our bus to confront a trial separation from his wife and his own cancer diagnosis. The bus performed beautifully, not only as a set piece, but hauling gear back and forth every day. Once the set had wrapped, we took our bus in to get inspected so that we could get our very first permanent license plate. Mechanics we took it to would not even look at it. They cited a variety of problems, most of which didn't really make sense to us anyway. But it wasn't really our area of expertise, so we didn't question it. However, instead of trying again at a different place, we elected to simply try to rush through the renovations as quickly as possible to get our 3 items. And although it was February and we had been granted a month's reprieve on our eviction, we had to work pretty fast. The first step was painting the bus. We had a feeling that, as fun as our psychedelic paint job was, no one was really taking us seriously with it. Magnus had a workshop that was in an old barn, which had a door that was thankfully just big enough for the pet to fit in. So we drove it inside, and with the help of our friends Chris and Graham, we primed the whole thing. Unfortunately, as anyone who's lived in and around Vancouver can attest, the month of February is wet, no matter which way you slice it. So even though we dried the bus meticulously before we started priming, moisture was condensing as we worked. And in the end, about 1/3 of that primer had peeled off. So over the next couple weeks, I spent quite a lot of time with my back in the mud tidying cables on the undercarriage of the bus, and then launched fully into renovation of the interior. I built a bed and a kitchen counter, and we acquired some RV appliances from a very nice man named Jody. We installed those, but completion of the items required either water plumbing or gas fitting. I elected to do water plumbing because I liked the reduced likelihood of explosions. I still remember listening to the first Canucks Jets game in Vancouver since 1996 on the radio while I was struggling with brass fittings underneath the water tank. This was March, and we had moved the bus to the parking slip behind my house where it fit just barely without nosing into the alley. But we were coming to the end of our 2-week temporary tags, and it still looked like things weren't going to be done. A friend recommended to us that we take another stab at inspection, and we relented. Diesel Tech was a shop that came highly recommended, so we took the bus to them. The inspection yielded some necessary repairs, wiper motors, lights, belts, that type of thing. But in the end, we got our 1-year tags and our first ever BC license plate. Now it was time to move on to the next stage in our project, the one that actually involves film and people.